just feels a little odd that I'm not saying anything. I'm very aware of the fact there's a microphone poking me in my left eye. So I'm not actually even 100% sure this is recording, but I'm going to talk anyway because I'm bored now. So, hello. I'm Lee. That's Matt. This is our Honda. And it's raining. Massive surprise there. We're just on our way back from, well, Cheltenham at the minute. But we've been out to, just on the outskirts of Gloucester actually, to buy a fish. As you do. Bought a fish, don't have it with us, funnily enough, because carrying a fish on a motorcycle is probably a shit idea. But we're going to go and pick him up tomorrow. He's a bright red Siamese fighting fish called Brian. He's going to be brilliant. So we're just riding back now to go and thaw out. We were going to take the Triumph out tonight, but I don't know if that's going to happen because it's fucking miserable. But anyway, on this dreary ride home, that's calling people wankers again. On this dreary ride home, I will be your guest vlogger for the afternoon. So I hope to keep you entertained. I don't know how, because this is a really bloody boring piece of road and it's raining. I don't really have a lot to say. Other than the fact, I've just noticed Matt hasn't put his mirrors back on. That's interesting. He always does like to live on the edge. So anyway, it would have been really nice to show you some of the beautiful sights in Cheltenham. Except weather shit, so we're going home. I know Matt had the camera earlier. I don't know what he's been talking to you about. I'm probably repeating myself massively. Or repeating him massively. But never mind. So, it's great, it's wet. We're cruising at a gentle 60 miles an hour over a bumpy bit of road, as you might have gathered. I do love riding a motorbike. I hope I'm not shouting too badly. I just realised I'm playing my music quite loud and probably speaking quite loud to compensate for that. I also kind of hope I never have to hear myself because I think I sound like a bit of a cockney on film and I don't like it. It's ironic because everyone says I sound like a country bumpkin in real life, but I suppose no one likes their recorded voice, do they? Not actually sure you could probably even see anything out of the camera lens right now because I know I can see all out of my visor, but that's not just because it's covered in insects. I actually just bought a couple of new visors because both of ours are absolutely ditched. And I thought Matt might have put them on before we went out today. But you. Anyway. A good piece of music just on. It was used as part of the soundtrack that Ollie did for our Europe trailer from the trip last year. It's amazing. We're vaguely thinking about trips for this year. Everyone's a bit skint and everyone's situations are a bit different, so I don't think it's going to be anything as big as Europe unless a miracle occurs. So I think we might do something in the UK. Lovely. Maybe Scotland, Ireland, lakes. Don't know. But we're hoping to get the guys over in a few months. Well, weeks would be nice, but as soon as possible so we can get a few things sorted. Because personally the idea of not going on a big bike trip this year is kind of rubbish. Matt and I have already got a lazy holiday booked for the beginning of October, which is just a week of doing nothing somewhere sunny. which would be great, but that will be my nice relaxing holiday at the end of the year. I want to do something that makes me feel like I've done something this year. Last year was my first bike trip. I've never done anything like that before. I hadn't been camping since I was about 14, and I was vomited on by my tent mate. It was at school. I think we were in, it was either the Forest of Dean or the New Forest, but it was fucking awful. And I hated every minute of it. And when I met Matt, I was a little nervous about all this camping malarkey that they seem to be doing. But then he took me down to Wales for D2D not long after we got together, and I loved it. His idea of camping was not the same as camping I'd been used to, and it was just really bloody fun. It really was quite a baptism of fire though, because the weather then was shit. I have no idea what he's pointing at then. Not paying attention. Yeah, it was dreadful weather. Obviously much worse for the guys doing the enduro, but it didn't make nice spectating conditions either. But I really enjoyed it, and I was really excited for the Europe trip, despite, you know, a couple of nights back. What are you doing crossing there, you fucktards? You've been peeing in the hedge, haven't you? I'm sorry. Sorry about that. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, camping. Yeah, so a couple of odd nights camping, that's one thing, but obviously camping for like 2.5 weeks is a different kettle of fish. So I was a little bit nervous about that. But it was brilliant. I really loved it, and I actually found when I got back I was really, really missing it. So hopefully we'll be sorting out something next year. Hello, Matthew. I know everyone's a little worried about doing something in this country, mostly because of said weather, but shit happens. Can't guarantee it's not going to rain in the Alps, so you just have to take your chances and take another jumper. And wow, really quite windy and horrible. And I don't know if any of you guys have seen our little Honda, the CV919 Hornet, and there is fuck all on her. As far as bearing or any of that malarkey is concerned, there's no road speed. So when it's this wet and this windy, it's like riding a roller skate, albeit a very fast, very fun, and very sexy roller skate. But we did love her. She was the first one we brought home when we brought her in the Triumph. The 2 bikes which replaced Matt's BFR, Fatty as we like to call her. We sadly had to go because she developed a habit of stalling for absolutely no apparent reason, and she did it one day to us as we were just pulling onto a roundabout, onto incoming traffic that was going quite fast, and she just went, no, well, I'm going to stall. Get yourself out of that one, which we did because Matt's awesome, but that was not amusing massively. So she had to go. Bad Fatty. So we were just going to replace her with one bike, but then Matt saw the Hornet and fell a little bit in her. He always wanted one, so we had a look at her. We had a look at the Triumph, because obviously the two of us couldn't tour on the little Honda. So we ended up buying both. Because we're stupid like that. But it's the best decision ever. They're both totally different bikes. The Triumph is a Sprint 1050, and she's beautifully big and comfortable and perfect for touring. Whereas the Honda is perfect, not so much for things like what we're doing right now, but she's perfect perfect. I've been blown around the lane, snipping in and out of Siren's Esther and what have you, because she is a city bike and she is so nimble. I don't know whether the camera picked up earlier the little bit of filtering that we did, but despite having wide handlebars, she does squeeze in and out of the gaps. She handles more like a dirt bike. She's just friendly. So it's really good. We've basically got bikes for all occasions. Speaking of dirt bikes, I think that's the next thing off the shopping list. Fraser's are opening up their shop a little more to include some dirt bikes, a wider selection of dirt bikes, so I feel we may be shopping soon. That's a few less pairs of shoes for me, which I'm not massively upset about, to be honest. I prefer a new pair of Dragon G's before I get any more pairs of shoes. There we go. So we're now on what's usually much prettier roads on the way home, except they look very miserable right now. I can't actually see braking. Rubbish. I think there's a chance at some point a little bit closer to home we might run into the hunt, because we went past a shed load of horse boxes on the way out, so that'll be fun. Crappy day they picked for it, but there we go. They're mental. I definitely think we might not take the Triumph out this afternoon. I can't massively feel my toes, which is fun. I really didn't put enough socks on for the weather. When we left the house, it was actually really quite sunny, and it wasn't windy, and it looked right. Got that wrong, didn't I? Beautiful rolling countryside of the Cotswolds. Such a shame really, because it's so pretty around here, but when it rains it looks awful. I'm trying very hard not to sing right now, mostly due to microphone awareness. I am usually quite chatty inside my helmet, because I think no one can hear me, and I had gotten a bit nervous for my little beginning bit. I was just recording and not daring to say anything. I felt like you were all listening to me. It's not so bad now. It's like talking to an imaginary friend. I talk to Matt quite a bit on the bike. I know he can't hear me, but I just chatter away to him. We do talk a little bit. We have developed quite an extensive range of hand signals. But most of the time we know what each other's thinking anyway, so it's alright. Part of the reason why we ride so well together, and no one seems to understand why we ride so well together. A lot of people say very bad things about pillions. Makes me very cross, because as long as pillions pay attention, there's no reason why they can't enhance your riding experience. I mean, you know, let's face it, most men aren't going to say no to having a hot chick squeezing their thighs against them for a few hours. Not necessarily saying that I'm a hot chick, but Matt thinks I am. I don't know, I've often wondered whether we ride better together because we're a couple and we're generally just a little bit more in tune with each other. Oh, sun's coming out. Yay! Sunshine! But a lot of my friends that he rides with, they've all commented that they're actually really surprised that Matt's riding style hasn't changed dramatically since I've been plonked on the back. He certainly doesn't go any slower. I think he goes a little bit slower than back when he had his ninjas, but that's obviously because he's not on a ninja anymore. But yeah, move over, you twat. Your car's big enough. Wanker. My language is terrible. I'm always telling Matt off for swearing, and I actually do swear quite a bit. Whoops. Anyway, yeah, back to pillion power. So I think it does help to have trust and a level of closeness. I have this argument with Jamie, he will know it all the time, about whether you should hold on around the waist or hold on to grab rails or whatever you've got stuck on your bike for a pillion. I personally hold on, not a great deal to be honest. I mostly just hold on with my legs, and I usually, don't know if you can see that, just tuck my hands down in between my legs and Matt's ass. But that's because I don't feel I need to hold on, but if I am going to, I will put my arms around his waist, because personally I feel that's safer. I keep my head well out of the way of his head, so he doesn't feel restricted in looking around. And the way I see it is, if the bike's going to move, if we're going to go around a corner, whatever, I move with him, absolutely. I don't have to remind myself to move with him, which I'd have to if I was holding on with my arms behind me. I would have to judge the corner and judge how much I was going to lean, whereas if I'm clamped onto his back like a little limpet, then I just go with him, which I just think is easier and better. Jamie thinks it's a load of rubbish though. We argue about it often. Plus I've got a dreadfully bad spine. Broke my back when I was a kid falling off my horse, and personally having my arms behind my back for extended periods just buggers my spine up. It's really uncomfortable for me. You might have noticed I peek to the left. That's mostly because my spine bends that way, and I find it a lot more comfortable. So this is really boring. I think if this ever gets uploaded to anything, then people are just going to be asleep, drivelling on about pillion riding. I'm sure you all know how to ride pillion. Gotta love the country lanes.